Flows are a great way to construct a sequence of operations to prepare your data in SAS Studio. If you have access to SAS Studio, I encourage you to follow along with me. Your environment may already have all the files used in this demo. However, if you don't see them, please visit our SAS Software GitHub page. The SAS Viya Quick Start repository provides the files used in our demonstrations and instructions to load them into your environment. Open SAS Studio from the Applications menu by selecting Develop Code and Flows. Let's begin by opening and examining a completed flow. In the SAS Server pane, navigate to the Quick Start folder and double-click Prepare HomeEquity.flw. This flow has several components that execute SAS and Python programs, compute new columns and update labels, join tables, export files, generate reports, and provide documentation with notes. Select the Steps pane and notice that there are two tabs. Under SAS Steps is a list of steps that SAS provides that can be added in a flow. The list grows with each new release. Click the Custom Steps tab. This list includes custom steps that have been created and shared in your environment. There's a custom step named Print Sample Final that prints a sample from a specified table. We'll use this custom step later in a flow. If you want to learn how to create your own custom steps, check out the Creating Custom Steps with SAS Studio Quick Start demonstration. Let's take a closer look at the completed flow. Notice that it's organized into multiple sections called swim lanes. Swim lanes group and sequence the execution of the nodes. The properties of each node can be accessed in the bottom portion of the screen. Click the Export to Excel node to view the associated properties. Click Open next to the File Location field. Select SAS Server, then expand SAS Server, Home, and select the Quick Start folder. Type Customers in the name field, and change type to Microsoft Excel Workbook.xlsx, and then click Save. Click on the flow to minimize the step properties and return to the complete flow. You can run nodes individually, run a selected swim lane, or run the entire flow. Click Run to execute the entire flow. As the steps execute successfully, a green checkmark appears on each icon. Select Submitted Code and Results to view the code, log, output data, and results. Let's start from scratch and recreate the contents of the Prepare Home Equity Data swim lane. First, let's clean up the workspace by right-clicking any of the tabs and selecting Close All. Click Don't Save if prompted to save the files. Click New and Flow. You can also add a new tab and select Flow. In the SAS Server pane, select the Import HomeEquity.SAS program and drag it into the flow. A SAS program node appears, and the associated program is displayed on the Code tab below. Because this node is the start of the flow, right-click the program and select Remove Input Port. The output of this program is the Home Equity table. From the Steps pane and the SAS Steps tab, expand Data and drag the table step to the flow. Then connect it to the output port of the program node. In the lower half of the window, customize the node properties. Click the library icon and select the Work Library and the Home Equity table. Then click OK. Click Run to execute the flow. Then visit Submitted Code and Results and Results to view the descriptive portion of the Home Equity table. Let's go back to the flow. Next, let's modify and add columns within the table. In the SAS Steps tab, expand Transform Data. Drag the Calculate column step into the flow, then connect it to the Home Equity table. Click the Calculate Columns node to view the properties. In the Options tab, select City, which happens to be a column stored in all lowercase. Click Define to view a variety of transformations available to modify the data values. Select Change Case and Proper Case. The updated column values will be replaced in the City column. Next, click Define and choose New Column to create a column that will represent the loan-to-value ratio. We'll build a formula to calculate that value. Double-click Mort Do to add it to the expression. Click the Divide button, and then double-click Value. In the column name field, type LTV, and in the column label field, enter loan-to-value ratio. It's important to consider the output variable type, so for this calculation, we'll need to change the type to numeric. Click Change Format, expand the numeric category, and find the % format. Accept the default width and decimal places, then click OK. Click Save to add the new column. Right-click the Calculate Columns node in the flow and select Run Node. The green checkmark shows that it executes successfully. Notice the very subtle filled-in output port on the Calculate Columns step. This indicates that the step produces a temporary table as output. Click on the output port, then select Preview Data to view that temporary table. We can see LTV is added, and the casing for city has been corrected. This temporary table can feed directly into another step. Next, let's use the Query step to join the temporary table produced by the Calculate Columns step with the sashelp.us_data table. This will add population data for the origin state for each loan. Right-click the output port and select Add a Query. Or you can also drag the query step into the flow and connect it to the output port of the Calculate Columns node. In the Library Connections pane, type sashelp:/US in the search field and press Enter. That makes it easier to find the US_data table. Drag it into the flow and connect it to the input port of the query node. You can click the Arrange Nodes icon on the flow toolbar or drag the nodes to optimize the layout. Select the query node in the flow. In the query details, right-click the T1 Calculate Columns table and select Add Columns. Expand T2 US_data and scroll down to find population_2020. Double-click the column to add it to the query at the end of the column list. On the Columns tab, modify the label for population 2020 to replace the underscore with a space. On the Join tab, you can specify the join criteria. Click Select a column next to T1.division to change the matching column. Instead, select State and OK. Change the column under sashelp.us data to State Name. Click the Inner Join icon between the tables and change the join type to Left Join. This will include all the rows from the T1 table in the result. Click the Node tab and enter Join Pop Data in the Node Name field. The output of the query step will also be a temporary table unless we direct it to a specific library and table. Right-click the output port of the query node and select Add a Table. On the Table Properties tab, specify that the output table should be saved to the work library as homeequity_final. Let's try it out. Right-click the Join Pop Data query in the flow and select Run Node. Finally, let's use the custom step named Print Sample Final to generate a report for the Home Equity Final table. In the Steps pane, click the Custom Steps tab. Add Print Sample Final to the flow and connect it to the Home Equity Final table. Select the Print Sample Final step to view the properties. Then click Add Columns and select Bad, Loan, Mort Due, Value, City, and LTV. Click OK. On the Options tab, change the selection method to Random Sample. Let's test the complete flow. Click Run and confirm that all steps display a green checkmark. Select Submitted Code and Results, and Results. Scroll down to see the printed sample of the Home Equity Final table. You can also select Output Data to view all tables created from the nodes in the flow, as well as temporary tables that are built between nodes. What if you intend to analyze the final output data in other applications, such as Visual Analytics or Model Studio? The data must be loaded into memory in SAS Cloud Analytics Services, or CAS. To make this happen, the output destination must be a CAS lib. In the flow, select the Home Equity Final node, then click the Library icon. Instead of Work, select CAS User as the output library, and enter Home Equity _ Final in the Table field. Click OK. Under the Options tab, select all 4 options: Promote to a global in-memory table, Drop and replace the table if it exists, Save to persist the table on disk, and replace the existing table saved to disk. Click Run to execute the entire flow. Once it's complete, go to the Library Connections pane and expand the CAS User CAS lib. Confirm that the in-memory table Home Equity _ Final is available. This table will be accessible in SAS Visual Analytics to create interactive and exploratory reports, or in SAS Model Studio to build a model to predict loan success or default. Finally, to document the flow, select Add and Note. In the note, type Home Equity _ Final is loaded in the CAS User CAS lib. Click Save. Then select SAS Content and My Folder. Type My Home Equity Flow in the name field and click Save. We've just scratched the surface of what is possible with SAS Studio Flows. If you'd like to learn more, please visit the Learning Center to discover additional resources.